Hey YouTube, how you guys doing? My name is Kyle, you know me as Dragonmar, and welcome to a new video. Today, we're going to be going over my first impressions from playing Valorant after 16 hours straight. I played from 8 a.m. when the closed beta released on the 7th until about 1 in the morning. So I got a lot of games in. Luckily, I was not one of the people that had any connection problems. So with that in mind, here's what I thought about the game. And here's where I see the future going. So first, I want to talk about if I had fun, right? Because I think that's the most important thing when you look at a new game like this. The answer is yes. I actually had a lot of fun. I think that what this game has going for it right now is that it is extremely smooth. It feels very polished. Shooting people is very rewarding. Getting headshots feels very rewarding. I think that was one of the things I really liked so far about the game. And on top of that, I think that, a lot of people are wondering, what this game is most similar to. I think leading up to the beta, or leading up to this part of the beta, we had a pretty clear idea that this game was very similar to Counter-Strike. And I think it remains pretty clear that this game is once again very similar to Counter-Strike in a lot of ways, but I think it differs enough to really make it unique and that it will attract a slightly different audience. Now, I was playing with a lot of different people, from big name streamers to professional CSGO players, to people who it seemed like had never played an FPS before, judging by their okay, never mind. But just a wide range of people, right? And a lot of what I got was some people loved the shooting. Some people loved having the ability. Some people loved the characters, the maps. But everyone sort of had something to say. And not everyone loved everything, and I think that's just how this is going to be. So the people who really love this game, that's perfectly fine. And people who aren't going to like it, that's perfectly fine. But for me, there was a couple things I really like. First of all, I really like the character design so far, barring one agent, I should say. I believe. Let me check her name really quick. So the one agent's name was Raze, and she's the most recent one to be released. I don't really like her bomb abilities. They're in her grenades. They're kind of weird in her ultimate. I don't like it. It's very reminiscent of Junkrat to me, in a certain way, just because of the explosions. But everything else was so cool. One of the things I really like is that it feels like, whether they did this intentionally or not, a lot of the characters' abilities remind me of like Counter-Strike utility. Like Brimstone has 3 smokes, for example. Well, that's like enough smokes to smoke any site in Counter-Strike, right? Or Phoenix has 2 flashes that you can flash around corners. I mean, I think that was incredibly smart on Riot's part, because it sort of makes it really nice for maybe a CSGO player to transition to the game. They just pick the player they pick the agent with the smokes or with the flashes, and they feel right at home. Now, with that being said, I also really like a lot of the guns. I think that the Vandal, definitely, people were saying, and they were right, it feels like the AK. I like that. I like the one tap on the headshots. That was going very well for me. I also think the AWP is, once again, a great option. It's obviously more expensive, so you have to weigh that against, everything else. And one thing I realized, and one thing that happened was your economy in this game, maybe it's because there's no ranked yet and people are just learning, but on the first day it was a little shaky. People were not really saving very much. But I'm going to make a video on something about that, because there's something I think a lot of people aren't realizing. I'll say that for next time, though. Now, let's talk about map design. The maps were good, I would say. Nothing great or amazing. We get 3 maps right now, and most of them played pretty well. I think that the problem that I saw on some of the maps is that if you have certain agents, it's really easy to block off a choke, like, for the entire game, or for the entire round. The right combination of agents probably could permanently seal off, like, a choke if there's only one and a lot of these only have one entrance into site, which is why that is kind of a problem. So you obviously have to plan around that. And that was one thing I found a little frustrating. I also don't really like the walls. I think it's from Sage. They're like May walls. I don't really like those. They feel a little strong. But nonetheless, I think that the maps are pretty well done, in that they did play pretty well. And I actually like the teleporters on them as well for quick rotates around the map. So next, I want to talk about utility and about teamwork. And I think that one of the really cool things about this game is that there's no diffuse kits, right? So I like that because I don't like having to buy diffuse kits, right? The bomb timer is the bomb timer, and there's not really utility in the sense of grenades, smokes, flashes, things like that. You have your abilities, obviously, which take the place. You can see it in the bottom of the buy menu. And what I like is that I think that this is going to allow people to get very creative with different setups and designs. It means that there's going to be multiple combinations to take holds on certain maps and to be aggressive or maybe play more defensive. And it also poses some problems, because I think that sometimes you can choose an agent who is not so well suited for attack. And if you have one or two other agents who are also not so well suited for attack, well, suddenly you're at a sort of a major disadvantage, depending on how the other team is playing. And I think that this happened a lot, particularly for me, when I realized a lot of my teammates weren't playing agents that had really any utility. So I actually very rarely had a Brimstone on my team. People didn't seem to really play him very much, despite his smokes being incredibly strong, which was a little surprising. But nonetheless, I think there is plenty of room here for some really, really creative games and gameplay, and I think it far outweighs the consequences of not having perfectly balanced teams, especially being so early into the game. I'm sure things will start to even out a little bit more. Now I just want to briefly touch on the game, like the speed, the feel of the game. You definitely are a little bit slower than CSGO. Movement feels good though. Movement definitely feels good. You're not like crazy fast like Overwatch, but it feels fine. And on top of that, a lot of the guns, the kills, very satisfying. The abilities feel good as well. Sometimes you'll get stuck in screens by accident. A lot of the times, especially on Brimstone, I try to use a smoke, but I wouldn't, be able to get out of it as quickly as I wanted to, just because, I was hitting the wrong button or something like that. But no, the game feels very smooth. And on top of that, I wanted to talk about the feel of the rounds. So you have like your initial buy phase, which I think works very well. Reminds you a little of Rainbow Six, but it feels good. It feels like you have plenty of time to talk things over. What's really cool, at least in unranked, is that you can sell your items. Let's say one of your teammates buys. You guys like, hold on, none of us have any money. They can literally sell it back for full price, which is awesome. You can request guns as well from your teammates. They can straight up buy it for you. And you can buy anywhere on the map as long as you're within your barriers. So I think that is actually huge. I think that's really, really cool as well. And in terms of how the rounds felt, I think that the time limit made sense. The games felt good as well. Nothing felt like it took forever. Obviously, with no overtime, first to 13. So a maximum of 25 rounds. Most of my games took between about, right around 35 minutes, I think. And I had a nice mix of stomps and good games. I got stomped a few times. Definitely did it more than I took it though, which is nice. But it felt really good. And I really like the urgency that it felt when the game started getting close, and we started playing more as a team. I thought it felt great. Really reminded me of like competitive Counter-Strike. And yeah, just to close things out, I had a blast. I haven't played a game for 16 hours in years, probably to the very beginning of Overwatch in the summer, before Ranked was out. So it's been that long, and I had an absolute blast. I think that this is going to be a massive game. Obviously, you saw over 1.7 million viewers on Twitch alone, with Summit hitting over 300,000. It was incredible, the amount of people that are watching and that want to get into this beta. So I hope everyone gets into the beta eventually. It is a real treat, and I can't wait to make some more videos on this game. I think that there is a lot of great content that's going to be made about this game, from guides on characters to weapons to movement to you know, setups and smokes. I mean, there's going to be some great stuff. So I can't wait, and I can't wait to keep playing. And I'm going to play right now, actually. So with that being said, thank you so much for watching, guys. I can't wait to show you some awesome Valorant content, and I will see you guys later. Take it easy, and peace.